Welcome to our podcast, our dance journey podcast. It's already 11th one, which was crazy a little bit to realize that it's already 11th chat that I have had with this amazing people that I get to chat about. We haven't had yet for this year, so this is the first one for this year. So if you're listening to this the first time, my name is Pirita. And this podcast was built for just to talk about dance and talk about what kind of different journeys everybody has done in their dance. We all and it was just lovely because today is also International Dance Day, and I saw this post that especially in Finland, dance has been on recorded the one of the kind of most popular hobby that people also have. I'm not sure how is it, maybe Emmy can also then tell more how is it on UK side and Scotland side, but yeah, it feels that a lot of people love dancing, a lot of people are doing it. So this is what we're just having it here on talking about, on different journeys what people have. So for that note, I have here a wonderful guest, Emmy, what we call it. Emmy, and with Emmy, we have been now, it's been more than 2 years that Emmy has been with me on this journey, and I have seen her kind of what's been happening with her dance. But I'm gonna, Emmy, for you to little bit introduce yourself, a little bit tell where you're from and where are you now, so we get a little bit sense, tiny bit about you and what do you do otherwise as well.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me, Farita. It's nice to be on the dance podcast. And especially, I didn't realise it was, in fact, I'd seen a couple of posts that it was International Dance Day, but I hadn't realised that was today. So no, that's quite nice. It's nice to fall at the same time. Yeah, so my name's Emmy, and I live up in Edinburgh in Scotland, which is how I kind of ran into Farita and got linked up through dance things and friends in Scotland and I think both of those ways. And I've been up here for like nearly 4 years now, but originally I'm from England. So I'm from the southwest of England, a city called Exeter. And normally my day job is kind of like science and management and research and development. So dancing is very much like the other end of that, which is quite nice.
Amazing. And well, most of everybody who is kind of joining on these conversations, I've been asking the first question of when kind of your dance history has started. How did you kind of find dance? Did you find it when you were younger, or did you kind of find it in now more later on, or how the dance kind of came into your life?
Yeah, so I think I've been doing dance kind of on and off like forever. Like I remember, I think I went to a dance class first, probably when I was like teeny tiny, like 4 or 5. But I think along the way, so when I was growing up, I would try all sorts of things for maybe like a year, and then I'd probably stop again, and then I might try something else, and I would stop again. So I did everything from along the way. I think started off with some like, probably ballet was the first one, but I didn't stick with that very long. And then did some tap dancing, did some Irish dancing in the middle somewhere, which my sister wanted to do. We did some, I think at one point I even did flamenco dancing again. And little bits. And then I think, through when I went to university and things as well, I started doing, just all drop-ins really. Started doing things like salsa dancing or also like rock and roll dancing as well at one point. And again, all for about a year, and then I would stop when life would move on and I'd change, do something else. But yeah, so I've always done a little bit of it, but never really stuck with anything long term.
Okay, amazing. And why do you think that it kind of went on trying on different things and nothing kind of stick throughout? Was it more of just kind of you felt like you didn't find the style that you liked the most, or what do you think? What kind of affected on that?
It's a good question. So I think a combination of things. There's a question I've been asking myself a little bit. I think recently we've been talking about it in some of the coaching sessions. Is what makes you stick at things, and at what point you start to drop off, and why. I think on one side, it probably falls into the buzz of trying something new. You try something new, it's kind of fun and exciting at the beginning, and then it gets hard because you've done all the get to the beginning and you have to work on it a bit further. So that's probably one side. And then also just life changing. Like I know that when I, like, for example, when I was at university and then I moved to Edinburgh, I'd find people in classes that I enjoyed, but then I would move, so then I would stop going. And it takes quite a lot to find the same kind of style and classes and people that you want to do that with. So yeah, maybe like where you are and who's doing it with you.
Yeah, definitely. And I can totally understand that, even for myself, of thinking of going different countries or living now in a different country, of just kind of finding your kind of your own dance community in a way. It's always a interesting journey how much that dance is so connected with that social aspect. That finding
it's so true actually. And if I think back to like the community we've got now, and especially the group that we do the coaching with, it's great, and that's a lot of the reason why it's motivating, I'd say, from like 1 month to another. And actually, looking back at what I was doing before, I'd go with friends and make friends when I got there, and again, you'd get to know people and they'd say, are you coming to the next one? We've got, there's an event going on, or there's a social going on, you should come. And social aspect of dancing is quite a big pit, I think.
Part of it, yeah. Well, we are starting to get, somebody said, like, life after now pandemic, and throughout this podcast we started this on kind of middle of the whole pandemic, so I guess now we're talking about the life after pandemic. But how did you notice, how did your dance change when the pandemic started?
So I think because before the pandemic I'd sort of just got to the point where I'd been in Edinburgh maybe like a year and a half, and I decided that I was missing dancing. Hadn't really been doing it when I got here. I think I'd done like a couple of drop-in classes, but hadn't quite found like the dance community like we were talking about. So I'd been going to some drop-in classes at like Dance Space in the middle of not Exeter, Edinburgh, in the middle of Edinburgh here, or occasionally doing a drop-in somewhere else. And I think just as I was starting to kind of get into the swing of, okay, cool, I want to be doing a bit more dancing, then the pandemic hit and I was like, okay, maybe that's out. And then it was a friend that linked up with your online dance classes, one of our mutual friends, and she had suggested them, although she doesn't really dance, but she had suggested them. And then we started doing some of the drop-ins, and then you launched the course. So actually, I would say having kind of time at the beginning of the pandemic helped, because I wasn't working right at the beginning, or I got put on furlough at the beginning. And so, I'd say that you kind of kick-started it again, though. As in, I was dropping in at your classes and then dropping in at more of them. And then the course kind of launched, and it definitely felt like that was a journey that started then for me.
Fantastic. Great. Well, what do you feel it's been now? We've been doing the program that I've been running now it's going to be 2 years, and the live classes have been running even longer, which is, it's crazy to sometimes realize like it's been going that long. But now that you think about that time when you first started, do you remember of what was the things that what did you felt like you were struggling with dancing? What felt kind of hard?
Well, when we started at the beginning?
Yeah.
Right, this is where you have to kind of think right back and put your brain back to 2 years ago. I think some of the things I struggled with a lot at the beginning. I think one was not feeling embarrassed about everything. Especially, I know that we would do, I don't know, sometimes if I'd video it and watch it back, or even if I didn't, so kind of letting go a little bit was definitely one. I think like a fear of not having enough time, or not kind of, there wasn't necessarily something I had to be keeping up with, although there was the classes and the course that we were doing, but kind of like shifting my life around a bit to fit it in, especially once work and other stuff started going back again. that was one of the big things. And then also probably when things get hard, not just getting frustrated and going, oh, I can't do it, but actually just rolling with it and getting better.
Yeah. And now thinking of doing this for 2 years and diving into the dance even more, and really sticking with it as well, of not changing it. It's been now going for 2 years for you as well. So what's been kind of there on the highest on your list? What do you feel like you've been now? What have you learned from this kind of your own dance journey at the moment?
I think there's quite a lot of things, and I think some of them are kind of more like physical in terms of things like I've got a much better understanding of like how to move my body, which I think I'd never really stopped to get the hang of before. I think you break it down quite well, and you like take the time to talk through it as well. And as someone who doesn't have like a very technical or a background where it's kind of like built up, particularly, that was really good, and I definitely feel now that I can trust the way that I move my body in a way that I definitely couldn't a few years ago. It's work in progress, but that's probably one of the big ones. And then like little things like, I don't know, I'll notice like how much better my balance is, or how much better, like my ankles are way stronger, like things that I hadn't noticed that weren't there before, but are a lot better now. And then I think on the other side, a lot of it's around, I think I've talked before when you kind of asked me questions before about things like how I prioritize things in my life and what I think is important for me, which was something I wasn't really expecting to start questioning. That's probably one. I think we've talked about letting go, but kind of letting go, and even when things don't quite feel like what I'd usually do, or where I'm comfortable, or how I'm comfortable doing things or approaching things, like letting go and realizing it's probably the things that are a little bit scarier to approach, which actually you're going to learn the most doing. So yeah.
Wow, amazing. A lot of things. Wow.
You asked me, but what have you learned the most? I just gave you like 10 things.
Yeah, but you can see that they're being kind of the highest on your list in there of what you noticed. Fantastic. Well, it's crazy that today it is International Dance Day, and I've been asking this question a lot from everybody a little bit of like why people dance. So why do you think? Why do you dance? What keeps you coming to the dance?
So I always find this like quite an existential question, like some of the other ones. But I think for me, mostly just because it's fun. Like it's really fun, and I think you almost always end up in a way better mood, once you start dancing than you were before. Music's fun, dancing to music's fun. The biggest thing is it's just a lot of fun to do it. And then I think after that maybe partly the social aspect and partly the feeling of like getting better at something as well. I like both of those.
Yeah. And is the other kind of question and conversation that we have had a lot on this podcast in these episodes, but also on a little bit from with everyone when we're talking about dancing, we're talking something that people do outside of their work life. Is it that the hobby wouldn't be the one that it's giving you money back, or that we don't have to get something that it's just giving that mental and physical health, which is really important thing. And then people are like, well, I'm just doing it for fun, so I go now and then on classes. And what kind of a little bit sounded that it was what it was for you as well, of going now and then kind of classes and kind of trying out things. So now that because you've been now doing with me as well more, and I know what you've been doing for the last 2 years. So you've been doing it more structured way. So do you think what we have that, but I kind of feel like people are having a lot of this conversation that, okay, well, I just want to do it for fun, so I do it now and then. That if it's like doing it more structured way, it suddenly comes really kind of serious. Like, oh, I'm not doing this for profession, so I shouldn't be training like that. do you feel like, has there been that kind of conversation or thing on your mind about this?
Definitely. I find it really funny how, I think it happens for most people as well, or I think it's a society thing really, how it's as if there's two categories, and like either you don't take it seriously at all and you just kind of pop along and it's fun and maybe it's a bit social, or you're doing it seriously and you're good and you get really good and you like dedicate like all your time to it, and you like, so being in the middle where you're dedicating time wanting to get better, but you know you're not going to be the next star or whatever at something. Yeah, you do have to kind of talk yourself into being comfortable with that, if you know what I mean. Yeah. I think part of it comes, you know, you see videos of people who are, you know, just doing it as a hobby and are amazingly good at things, but you know, it's life, it's balancing what you prioritize, what you do. But have you found that like most people on the course have had this conversation at some point, or is it just some people? Or
I feel like throughout the whole my career of teaching, I've always come one way or another, this conversation comes up. Is that people say, well, oh, it's just my hobby, so I'm going to do it now and then I'm trying to, like, if we even have a little bit structure in that, even now and then you're going to find that progress and you're going to find the motivation be stronger and you're going to get more benefits out of it, which I kind of, like, what I keep on saying to you all is that I want that all of you guys would find that place that dance is giving back for you guys. It's not just taking something, but it's honestly giving you something a lot back, and that your body is the one that giving the motivation for you all to continue doing it. But if it's just kind of doing it now and then, there now, doing that class and then do a little bit other ones, it's easily gets a little bit everywhere. So it's hard to find that motivation also when it gets busy. So have you noticed for yourself any of this? So has it been a little bit easier for you now, the kind of doing it more structured way, or on the kind of now and then way of how you feel about it?
Yeah. So I think doing it more like in a structured way really helps for motivation. Like I'd say, you know, when you don't, because you know, when you're doing a drop-in class and there's a day when you just don't really feel like doing it, you don't do it because it's a drop-in class, and there's like, it, you know, it doesn't matter. It's not going to have like a knock-on effect because you haven't really thought about what you're doing afterwards anyway. And chances are you'll go the next week and it'll just be another drop-in class that has no link to the first one. So yeah, I think part of it is knowing that you kind of like, you're on an arc, and or like on whatever journey it is, and if you don't do it, it will just take you longer to get there, wherever there might be, and even if you're not quite sure where it is yet. And I think as well, like every time that you get the hang of something, or you manage to do something, or you kind of work on something a little bit and then actually do it the next time around, or do it like a few times later, you're like, oh, I'm way better at that than I was, you know, 6 weeks ago, 6 months ago, 2 years ago. Yeah, like it's a really nice little boost, but you do have to kind of check in and remember where you were versus where you are now. And I think doing drop-ins is like easy, you know, you don't have to think about it very much, you just kind of pop along every now and then, and it means you kind of try all sorts of stuff, but then you're doing it anyway, you know, you're putting the time in because you're going along to classes, so putting, I don't know, just a bit of time into actually like stepwise, you know, where do you go next? What do you do? How do you motivate yourself? And questioning it, I think, is useful, like on a dance level, but even just like learning how you learn for other bits of life as well. Yeah.
Have you noticed how have dance affected on your work life? Has it affected on your work life?
Yeah, it has actually. I like, you know, I'm not dancing around the corridors at work, not unless anyone's, not if anyone's there anyway. But yeah, I think it has kind of changed a little bit. A couple of things. I think one is it's changed a bit the way that I see my work life balance, and not particularly that I'm working any less. Like I think I was always I think I'm still working the same amount I was before. But I think just a reminder that actually my time outside of work isn't just not working, it's doing other things. You know, it's not just staring out the window or whatever I was doing before. I think it's kind of that idea of being reminding yourself that you're a person that actually there's like a number of different things that you love and enjoy, and not just to define yourself by your work, but all the different things that you do. I think that was a reminder that I probably did need a couple of years ago, when, you know, I wasn't working all the time, but I was very much like that was probably my only focus. And the rest of my downtime is kind of just watching TV probably. And then probably as well, like I've definitely found there's times at work when I've thought about like what I'm learning, or if I'm getting better, if I'm struggling with something, and kind of just thought about, okay, well, actually, when I was dancing, I was struggling with something and I was approaching it like this, or I just change it. So I think just like reframing the way that I think about what's difficult as well.
Amazing. Great. Wow. That's really great to hear. And it's I feel always like I keep on saying that I truly still believe that dance is one of the best exercise and hobbies that we can really honestly have, because we need to do in that one moment so many things when we are using our bodies differently. We need to listen to the music, the musicality of it. You're listening and you're sensing your body, and you're dancing out your feelings, and your brains are working differently because you need to communicate and coordinate with your body and the music. And so there's so many different things which I definitely think that everybody should be dancing in there. Well, one of the things that you also kind of, when I was asking what the kind of things that you would kind of discuss, and the thing that kind of popped there for me was the ignoring the little thing behind your head and just going for it. What's kind of what that little thing or the voice in back of your head or what it has been saying? What's the little voice?
Yeah, so I was having a think about this earlier actually, and I think that there were like certain times when it was like especially loud or like hard to like tune out I guess it's just your own self-judgment really, isn't it? And I think like one of the things that we spoke about a bit that I found hard was like some of the contemporary choreographies, like the technical stuff was difficult just because like physically it was difficult, but like the contemporary choreographies, like I always had this kind of idea in my head that to do contemporary dance you have to take yourself very seriously. And I think the combination of thinking I had to take myself very seriously but also not thinking I was very good, like yes, I knew that it takes time to get good, meant that I'd met somewhere in the middle and my brain was just going, oh, you're terrible at this, and you can't take it seriously, like you don't know where you're going, you don't know what you're trying to reach for, etc. And so I think like learning to sort of like, I guess, let go a bit, let go of like I think firstly letting go of whatever notion you have of what you should be doing. You know, I think it's fine, and especially like if you don't do it quite the same way as somebody else, that's fine too. You know, you're doing it because you enjoy it. And I think as well, having a go at something that wasn't particularly in my comfort zone and was a bit more, I don't know, because I guess some of it was like a bit more dancing to, I don't know, it's not just like fun and up here all the time, like there's bits more serious in places, can actually be quite fun as well if you just stop thinking about it, and you can kind of I guess exploring a bit more. Just think of it as like exploring and trying different things.
Yeah, I definitely remember always the first time when you did the little bit more improvisation and you were just like
really struggled.
And I could see that you were just trying to be a polite way of just kind of like, I have no idea how this is. this is gonna go. But then seeing you now on a few weeks back when we were doing more from improvisation based task work with partners creating choreograph. So it's crazy I just want to remind you as well where you kind of went even from that to the experience that you now have it. So
I think the first time we were trying to do improv, I just felt so uncomfortable. I just couldn't work out how, like, what headspace I was meant to get in. Where, like, I haven't really done it before. That's why I hadn't really done it before. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but that's more what it is on trying, especially improvisation, because you need to be so much more open. It's nothing somebody saying, okay, do like this. You need to kind of just listen to your body and trust and let go. And if you haven't done that before, it can be at first a really scary thing as well.
I remember quite enjoying, like, I think some of the improvisation parts, it was almost like slightly structured. Like I remember doing one kind of based around like circles and things like that. Like I remember really liking that, because I think we'd done something where I was like, oh goodness, I don't know how to do this. And then something like that was like kind of like an in at the shallow end, ease you into it, like here's something to work with, and like just play around with it. And I remember that feeling a lot more approachable, I guess. Yeah.
But yeah, then seeing that you still stuck with it and did it and went for it, and now seeing how amazing kind of thing that you and then the other girl, Jenny, you were guys working together. It was really lovely to see what you guys are kind of coming up from it. So it's really honestly been a big step from where you have started with the dancing in there. Amazing. It's been really lovely on having a chat. I'm just looking if there's any kind of questions popping in there on the live chat, or then I've asked all the groups as well. But do you have also on the end of, do you have any questions or any that you would like to ask? I've been asking a lot of questions from you.
Yes, because I know you've taught before and you've done courses and things before, but when you started last year through to now, because it's been 2 years now, I guess one question I'm curious about is, has everything kind of like unfurled with the people that have been on the course like you kind of imagined, or have there been any real surprises along the way? Because I know you've always got this kind of master plan, and every time you'd like drop something new in and then you get like a bit further on, you go, oh, I now see why Parita did that. But yeah, has it been surprising, or kind of you've seen the stepwise improvement like you thought you would?
That's a good question. Nobody hasn't asked me that.
It's a bit of a hard question.
No, it's a good one. Yeah, I think the biggest thing that has been kind of has surprised me a lot is how much people have honestly grown in dance, and I always kind of, I hope that all the programs or the classes, they will always have a little bit that kind of a thing that challenges, because if we never go into that moment of little bit challenging ourselves, we will never learn anything new. And if we don't learn anything new, we don't feel that winning feeling like, yes, I did it, because that's the power that keeps us then also going when we get those moments. But I think what's been so amazing is just to see how much everybody has learned in their journeys, that I've been just kind of blown away about it. And I've been trying to think with myself, I was like, where is this coming? Like, have I been honestly this clever? But I think it's
yes.
just is it that what it is? But I think it is a lot to do with how much I'm trying to challenge you guys, and I can see that now everybody has challenged themselves so much that they honestly now things are just so quickly clicking for them, that they are finding, like, I feel like there's been this, I'm going to do this kind of before photo and after photo from all of your videos, because I feel like there's two different people from everyone who's joining and everybody who I've had now chance more to work with these years. Like there's a totally different Emmy who started, and then there is a different Emmy now, which is really encouraging for myself to see that, okay, yes, we all can do it. And everybody has got something new. And what's even more kind of inspiring to see is that how much everybody has got that dancing has made the impact on their work as well. And it's some people have got even some little bit like a dance works there, but like you also explained how dance has affected on your work. So that's what I think it's been really kind of the biggest surprise in a way. I'm still kind of trying to get my head around, like, wow, okay, where is it coming from?
No, definitely, because it's kind of the coaching sessions that we've been doing are kind of like dance coaching, but really there's like a little bit of like life coaching that isn't what you're doing on purpose, but it definitely is just like, it's there. I think naturally it's there because we're like learning to grow and things. It's cool. Yeah.
But truly excited. I've always said, like, I have the bigger master plan. Yes, there it's gonna go. It's growing every time, and I keep on doing it as long as I keep on having fun with you guys, and still it's inspiring you as much as it's inspiring me. So that's the force that kind of pushes everything forward. But definitely, going further.
I like the idea that you've got a big poster up on the wall that says Parita's master plan across it, and then you've got the arrows, and maybe that's what's on the wall facing this way.
Yeah, it's just behind there.
Yeah, just behind there, absolutely.
Amazing. Well, the last kind of a talk on what would you say people like you who have been kind of maybe trying different styles before and haven't maybe found the dance community or the dance style, or haven't had maybe that little noise back on their head which is kind of stopped them to kind of go for it. What would you say to those people now?
Yeah, I would say that it's really worth finding something that you just commit to for at least a certain amount of time, and see how much of a difference. I think it comes down to like the progress you can make, and like how much of a difference it makes to like you and to what you're doing and what you're trying to do. And even that first 6 weeks we did, like, at the time it felt like a really big deal committing to 6 weeks, but actually in retrospect it was almost nothing. And I think just committing to some amount of time of like feeling like you're getting better and seeing if you build a community around it and all the rest of it, and kind of just going for it. I think just stop making up excuses, I guess, and just give it a go. And you probably do have time, and you can just like work with it so it works for you, and see where you get to.
Yes. Amazing. Yeah. And I think it's so much
siren going past.
The lovely UK where it's always you can hear it from a few blocks away.
Absolutely.
But it's sometimes it's the things I keep on reminding for all of you, but as much as I keep on saying to myself that the thing that scares me the most is the thing that I might need to do now, because it might be the thing that is honestly going to help me to grow whatever I'm going to do the most. But it's going to demand something so that it can give back. But if we don't give anything to that direction, it can't never give us anything back as well. So yeah, been really lovely to chat with you. Thank you for sharing your little dance journey and what it has given so far. And yeah, I'm excited to see where it's going to take next. So yeah, now it's just saying everybody there, and thank you who was listening to us, and happy International Dance Day. And yeah, thank you, Emmy.
Thanks for having me, Parita. Yeah, it's been fun to kind of think back on it all. So so many more months and years and classes and all the rest of it.
Yes, dance will never stop. We will keep on dancing till we're We're all grannies, right?
Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you so much to everybody who are listening there. And we're just wishing now amazing end of day to everyone. Thank you.